say that it feels right.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tehblender Gaming. My name is Tehblender, and I'll be your host for the evening. Today we want to talk to you about a game that me and my buddy Lockrawt are really excited for, called Ashes of Creation. Now, they just recently released the Apocalypse, or what used to be called their Alpha combat tests. I believe it was Alpha 1, Alpha 2, and Alpha 3. Might have been 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. But either way, they're their three alpha combat test modes. They renamed them, named them Apocalypse, and then they made a controversial thing where people were a little upset that they said that the BRs and the Apocalypse is going to remain its own free-to-play game mode. Now, business-wise, I think this is a smart strategy. I don't think there's a better way to draw people into if you're going to do a submodel MMO, I don't think there's a better way to draw people into a submodel MMO than to have a free-to-play singular game mode, like kind of like a Fortnite or a Battle Royale, where people get a taste of it, and if they like it, then maybe they'll also like, character creation, world development, all that. So with that being said, I think it's smart. I think that if they had released a MMO style, like, here's our world, here's our first dungeon, try this out, it probably would have resonated a whole lot better with MMO players. I know it would have with my buddy Lockrawt. He was real upset that they released a Battle Royale, and he was, like, mad that they were, maybe they were trying to get on the Fortnite hype train and so on and so forth, and it just didn't resonate well with him. So I'm, he's not the only person. There was a lot of, negative hype and stuff like that going around when they did it. So we took that, right? We took that and just kind of fueled it. We took a look at it and we went, you know what? This was originally supposed to be the alpha combat. This is the combat alpha for the MMO testing. It's not the MMO testing itself, but it's the combat for it. So let's look at it like that. He's been waiting for it for 6 years, and he's been really excited. And so we took a look at it and we kind of broke it down as an alpha, and I gotta be honest, if you take a look at it as a combat alpha, it is impressive what they have been able to accomplish, or at least what they have given us here. I've done alpha testing and I've done beta testing. Some of the more recent betas were Elder Scrolls Online and Star Wars: The Old Republic. And each one of those, they created this like world that you maybe you did some of the leveling and stuff like that, and you fought NPC mobs, and you have we had mobs dying while they were standing straight up, other things like that. Now the combat, certain abilities wouldn't go off, or they it was laggy or clunky or something like that. And to be completely honest, this alpha surpasses all of those betas, right? Like, this thing has everything that those did and more. Some of the games, right? Some of the games, or the big games at current. If you take a look at World of Warcraft, I use World of Warcraft because they have been the leading MMO in the industry for years, and there's a reason why. If you look at Fortnite, which just recently, shot up to the top of, games played at the moment, right? If you look at both of those, the one thing that they both have in common is their mechanics are sound, right? Their mechanics and their gameplay are sound and crisp and clean. Their world is a little cartoony. Now, I think some other MMOs have tried to do some things in the past. For example, Elder Scrolls Online is a really good example of this, where they tried to create a very pretty world. They wanted to create a very realistic world, something that was, closer to, real. And they accomplished that, but they tried to change the combat a little too much, and in my opinion, and they made it a little too complex. I think one of the formulas is to have a simple and smooth combat or mechanics with real decisions, decision making and stuff like that. And if you can do that in a simple form, I think you've got the recipe for a successful, combat or MMO. With that being said, I think that Ashes of Creation delivers that. It delivers. If this is their alpha, with as smooth as it has been, it still has the bugs and the tweaks. People falling through the world because they hit the space bar too many times trying to get out of the whirlwind or whatnot. It still has all of the growing pains of an alpha or a beta test, right? But combat wise, I didn't feel like I was ever blaming the game, right? Maybe my internet, my internet's not great, so sometimes that would cause me a problem, right? But overall, when you hit a player, the damage went off. When you queued up and when you hit an ability, it went off. If you had to take some time and learn which things would put you on kind of like a global cooldown and whatnot. And those are all things that MMO players can rejoice over. So maybe by releasing this battle royale and creating a free to play game mode that they're going to utilize and so on and so forth, maybe by doing that they've outsmarted us all. Maybe they have just created the way to draw players into their subscription model MMO or into the MMO, and that's that. Um, crossed fingers. Um, with that being said, as an alpha, as a combat alpha, I really like the way they've implemented the FPS style, targeting system, right? Traditional MMOs have always utilized a lock-on system where you had your abilities and you kicked that out. I think that um, in recent MMOs have kind of moved away from that. They've gone towards the FPS style, and like I said, I think ESO made it a little too complex with their heavy attack and light attack differentiations. With the way latency happens, that can create a problem for certain players. Certain players might be able to exploit holding down long enough and so on and so forth. And they've had some issues with that in the past. I think Ashes has taken most of that. They've pulled that together, and then they've made it so that you don't have a heavy attack, light attack, you just have attack, and kind of simplified that out. And I think they have a real recipe or real formula for success with that. If they can deliver, right, on their MMO side, if they can deliver 80 to 90% of what they've wanted to do or said that they want to do, I think we have probably the overall evolution of MMOs on our hands. I think that we'll see what it's like or what it's going to be like in a couple years, and what to aspire at. Unfortunately, Blizzard has kind of gone through a phase with the Immortal stuff, if you've been keeping up on that, where I don't know if, with BFA and Immortals and so on, and the kind of the state of Blizzard at the moment, I don't know if they'll be, the premier MMO, company or in the next 5 to 10 years. So, if you look at that and you kind of go, okay, so what game, might I look at? Which one's got the the people or the drive to do it? Like things like Warframe, even though it's doing free to play, its developers love what they do, and its community loves its developers. It has a really good community, and it's got a lot of stuff there that it's doing. And I think that you have a very similar thing here in Ashes, where you've got, they've pushed it back, right? They've pushed things back over and over and over again to get it right. And I hope they continue to do that. I'm a BioWare, for single player games. I'm a BioWare fanboy, and nothing makes me more excited about a BioWare game than when they release a press release that says it's not going to come out for another 6 months. Because that to me means that they found something they didn't like and they're going to fix it so that I have the best experience possible. And given that, this company, this, Intrepid Studios is looking at what they have on their plate and what they want to implement, how much it is, and how just kind of slow and steady and methodical it seems that they've been implementing it. I couldn't be more on the hype train if you tried. So me and my buddy, we are excited. We were a little upset that they released the BR. We're not sure how that'll play out management wise and overall. But we're excited to see what happens there, and we are overall excited about Ashes of Creation. So, if there's any question about whether or not we're on the hype train, the answer is yes. We hope to see you. We hope you have fun. Play the heck out of these apocalypse things. And if you want to, you can catch us on Mixer. We'll be streaming. We don't have a schedule, but anytime we're there, you're welcome. And hopefully, we see you all either on the stream, in the game, or right back here on this channel. Catch you later.